I've dealt with, we call them either animal calls or animal control calls, barking dog, things like that. This call that came in, it was, I guess a couple of bystanders have driven by, saw that she was in the middle of the road. She looked like she was still alive. And they said that she wasn't moving a lot, and they were, a couple of the callers were afraid to, I guess, get out and approach her because they didn't know how she'd act. I mean, even laying down, she's a pretty big dog. And whenever I rolled up on her, spoke to someone who had parked near her, and he said that, you know, we talked, had a brief exchange. I told him I'd take care of her. Well, about that time, I don't know, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning, I think. And I walked her out of the road a little bit. She didn't trust me quite at first. And she laid over in some bushes off of the side of Bosque and called animal control so they could come out. She had been hit pretty bad. She had a number of wounds on her back leg. She wasn't very responsive. I even tried to feed her some of my lunch, and she wouldn't take any of it. And I sat with her for about a good 30-40 minutes. It was pretty cold that night. I think it was probably in the low 30s. It had just rained a little bit, so she was cold, she was wet. Initially, we thought she had just been ran over, but after I spoke to the emergency vet, Dr. Allen, he explained to me that not only was her back leg dislodged, but while examining some of the blood that she had on top of her head, he noticed there was a gunshot wound to the back of her right ear, which is, if you can tell, why it's kind of limp now. I don't think her muscles are strong enough to peek back up, but animal control ended up coming and helping me load her up. And I don't know, something then kind of, I told her that I wanted to know what happened with her. I don't know why, I just wanted to know. And that's the last time I saw her that night. Whenever I went home, I kind of, I told my wife, I crawled into bed. I take the kids to school in the mornings, and I took the kids to school, and I came home, and she was feeding our son, and kind of laid down, and I kind of just started talking about the call. Told her it wasn't nice because of the situation, but I started talking about the dog. My wife happens to be the person I go to, and we kind of just talk about things whenever it gets rough. I haven't had to deal with anything too crazy while with Waco, but I definitely don't like animals being hurt or seeing them hurt, and we just started talking about it. And my wife didn't like the fact that she didn't eat the lunch I offered her, because my wife, she home cooks all our meals. So my wife kind of took that a little to the heart, and I just kept talking about it. And after I was done talking about it that day, you know, I figured that was going to be the end of it. We ended up getting called by Dr. Allen, and my wife and I were in the car, and I put him on speaker, and he started talking about everything that he's done to help Stella so far. He also told us how old she was. She's a little over 4 years old, and that she was part German Shepherd and part Belgian Malinois. And we just kept listening to him, and I kept looking at my wife, giving her the eyes, you know, come on, let's meet her first. Like, don't just completely shut it down. And she finally gave in and was like, we'll meet her, but I'm not promising anything. Kept talking to my wife about it, and I was like, you know, I don't know. There's something about her. I can't explain it. I don't know how to tell. Yeah. There's something about her, and I want to see if she'd be a good fit for the family. We have 2 other dogs, 3 kids, and everybody's temperaments around them are great. And we brought the kids up to the Humane Society with the dogs, and let the kids meet her. She got along with the kids. She was particularly sweet on our 4-month-old. She kind of sat next to him and played with him a little bit. And then she met the other 2 dogs, and they all got along really well. And I guess my wife felt kind of suckered in at that point, and me and her have been inseparable ever since. I will say to those who want adoption, who have considered adopting animals or taking care of animals that are hurt or don't have a home, they appreciate it. It can be scary, especially if you don't know anything about animals. It can be worrisome, especially, for instance, trying to figure out what they eat, their diet. Hers was a little bit more than I expected. She eats quite a bit. I'd say people who have thought about adoption, definitely consider it. Consider your options, weigh them. You don't want to just go headstrong into a situation because a dog or a cat or another animal is cute. You want to consider if the home is going to be good for them. You want to consider if you already have pets that they're going to be a good fit for the pets and your family. But I will say, at the end of the day, I think they all appreciate it. And they definitely love being able to come home to family.